Men of Reddit, what are some telltale signs that a woman is creepy? If she doesn't ask me many questions or doesn't seem interested in my life, but still manages to be clingy. AKA wants a boy, doesn't care who. When she puts a phone in your trunk on top of your spare tire to track you via GPS. I don't use my trunk. She knew that. She hooked it up to the 12-volt charger in my trunk and put a tracking app on the additional line she bought. I only discovered it when I had a blowout and had to use it. When I questioned her about it, she said she had trust issues. But good news, every time I told her I was somewhere, I was at that place. We broke up after that. Next level MacGyver. I'm actually kinda impressed. Girlfriend was practicing her signature and asked if she could see mine. Innocent enough, right? I rattle off a few beautiful Johnny Hancocks on a napkin, and beyond admiring my own handiwork, don't think of it any further. Fast forward a week, and she says, check out my new tattoo. Sure enough, it's my signature, first name only, on her right, or wrong, hip. Yikes. Fast forward to her solo European trip. Turns out she cheated on me with a guy with the same first name. Bet he was scared. This girl I met on Tinder had me take her out to a restaurant and then switch tables with her friend. They had been on blind dates and decided to switch. Her friend was not as attractive and I was very uncomfortable. After ordering my food, I went to the bathroom for 10 minutes to contemplate my exit strategy. When I got back, they had both left. The other guy asked if he could sit with me, so we had dinner and he ate his date's enchiladas. It was actually kinda fun after they left. My ex would freak out and throw things and scream at me. That's not the disturbing thing. She would freaking forget about it, hit reset and act like it didn't happen the next day. Over and over. I started filming her episodes to prove to myself I wasn't going crazy. When after 2 days she tells you she loves you, and also proceeds to mention that she loves your green eyes so much that if we ever broken up she would steal them while you sleep and keep them in a jar in her room. When she constantly tells you how everybody in her life is out to get her, and nothing is ever her fault. I've been friends with her for about 15 years, and at times it feels like being a victim is her entire identity. At work, all her bosses hate her for no reason or because she's a woman, even though it seems to follow her from job to job, and she has had many female bosses with whom this problem still exists. Her groups of friends are completely different every 1.5 years or so, because she inevitably has a falling out that is always their fault. In relationships, she behaves as if her boyfriend Dujor is the only redeeming light in a world of evil, rotten people, until they break up, at which point he is always portrayed as an abusive monster and a shining example of what pigs all men are. In very public tirades on every social media page she has. Constant subtweets 24/7, but more so after a breakup. Now, I don't doubt that she's been hurt in relationships before. She, nor anybody else, doesn't deserve that. But I do have a hard time believing that every single man she's ever dated is an abusive psychopath. Every single boss she's had has been mistaken and out to get her. Every single best friend is actually a two-faced bee. At some point, the common factor in all of these situations is her. I do not mean to minimize abusive relationships. They are a real issue, and people claiming abuse should be taken seriously. After all these years and all these instances of problems, I have a hard time believing her specifically. If the whole world smells like crap, check your own shoes. She'll joke about having kids before you're even in a serious relationship. I went on a couple dates with this one girl who had mentioned how much she wanted kids. Nothing unusual, pretty common actually. I'm looking forward to being a dad one day. Then she started sending me those weird things where you put two people's pictures together and see what their kids would look like. One time would be quirky, but she sent me a different one every morning for a week. Broke it off when I realized I hadn't even given her a picture of myself. Met this girl in church group in middle school. We got to know each other because of the group but didn't really become friends or anything. Stopped going when I went to high school and never talked to her for 3 years. She commented on a FB status I had and we got to chatting and I agreed to hang out the next weekend. I asked if we should invite other people in our old church group since I hadn't seen any of them in a while and she said no. I thought this was cause she liked me and wanted to hang out with me, so I was flattered. I kept talking to her throughout the day. The next morning I woke up around 10 AM to about 7-8 missed calls. 2 voice messages, and countless text messages from her. I was pretty creeped out by then. The nail in the coffin was one of the messages I got was from an old friend from the church group asking me if I talked to that girl. I was confused how my friend knew I talked to this girl the day before. Turns out the girl started messaging my friends asking when I wake up in the morning and why I hadn't messaged her back. I once responded to a flatmate ad, but the criteria was single male 30ish years old. Turns out she wasn't looking for a flatmate, she was looking for a husband. I was always clear that she would just be a flatmate to me. Weird things included getting upset when I didn't make her aware of when I was coming home or just came home late. She slept in a pile of laundry, but the rest of the house was immaculate. I brought a girl home once. She moved from the lounge to her bedroom beside mine so she could hear what was going on. Things got super weird after that. Lots of daytime texting with nonsense questions and flat meetings. Then outright banning my friends. Then an extreme amount of verbal abuse. When I moved out, she'd just come up to me and yell stuff like, "You're such a freaking loser." Basically, I had started seeing another girl and she went over the edge. I always refrained from reacting and just gtfo. She dyes her hair every color of the rainbow just to see how you'd react. Tells your family to back off because you are hers. Cheats with her male roommate while you run out to the car to grab a red box. Gives you herpes. Frick you, Rachel. Go eat a bag of dongs. Inability to apologize for anything ever. Punishing you. Silent treatment for doing something you had no idea would be offensive to them. Having expectations of you that they don't try to meet themselves. I would never stand that in a relationship, but it happens to me with work colleagues. They never understand why I don't mind that they're ghosting me instead of annoying me or freaking out at me. Some nice peace and quiet for a change. In high school there was a girl who liked me. She ended up carving my name into her foot. Asking for your passwords, phone, email, Facebook, etc. as a sign of trust. Nope, I have nothing to hide. However, when you think you need to have that information, it shows you already don't trust me, and anyone who asks and then says they won't use it is lying. They may not use it that day, or even soon, but they will use it at some point, because the same suspicion that led to them asking for it will lead them to use it. I had a girlfriend who yelled at me for spending $9,000 on my mountain bike instead of on her. I race professional and I took her out to dinner at least 3 times a week and got her gifts all the time. Plus we got to travel the world thanks to sponsors. But the one purchase for myself was too selfish. Tighty white is stapled to her wall as conquests. I've seen it. It's out there. Extra points for condoms instead of underwear. Talks about all the health ailments she thinks or is convinced she has, and then continues to consume foods which she claims she is extremely allergic to or that wreaking havoc on her health. She goes through your drawers when you're sleeping. Finding her collection of hair. I'm quite literally attached to mine. Outright refusing to believe that a guy might not be into her advances. I've seen a woman stare in bewilderment at her boyfriend after he had to repeatedly remove her hand from his crotch because she couldn't comprehend that he didn't feel like getting felt up in a public area. I've also had a woman, middle-aged, throw a tantrum because I wouldn't buy her a drink when I, 22 at the time, was at a bar while I was with my parents and some visiting family members. 60,000 texts will do it. They're always talking about themselves, and when they are, it's always about some small instance blown out of proportion to make them seem like a constant victim of the world. I am a woman, and I have had a few friends who do this. Having conversations with them is borderline impossible and downright exhausting. I've tried to limit contact with them because it's just too much. When she has decided you are her best friend after being around you for an hour. When she starts taking offense to doing anything without her involved. Had one girlfriend who insisted that she be with me for any outing, watching movies with friends, having dinner and drinks with the guys. She always found a way to come along. When I asked why she was so insistent on going everywhere with me, she said she wanted to make sure I wasn't talking to any other girls, and shortly after told me to cut off contact with every girl I regularly talked to, which really just signaled a huge jealousy insecurity problem. I told her I wasn't going to do that and to be assured that I chose her to be in a relationship with. If I wanted anyone else I would not have signed up to be with her. That didn't stop her though. One day I went out to have barbecue with the guys without her and noticed on the way there and on the way home a car was following me. It was her making sure there weren't any girls I was talking to. I broke it off with her after that. After a few days of her sending a constant bombardment of angry texts, she finally left me alone. I dated a girl in university that turned out to be severely mentally ill, and we dated for many years as she turned me into a shadow of myself, devoid of self-esteem, friends and any sense of self. Heed my words, or be doomed. She would not like it if I went anywhere without her, or did anything without letting her know. I don't know if it was jealousy or what, but it really angered her, and if I ever went anywhere without her I'd spend most of my time there chatting with her on my phone trying to get her to calm down. She would contact me randomly throughout the day to tell me she felt terrible and I had to go to be with her. It didn't matter what I was doing. Usually I was in class at university or trying to hang out with my friends. It was expected of me to speak very lovingly and tell her I'd be over right away. Even if I went over right away she would get mad that I didn't sound very happy about it, then fight about that. Or if I said I couldn't do it, she'd lose it at that too. You can imagine how badly this affected my academic and social life. Even if we were together I couldn't do stuff that wasn't about her. Doodling in a sketchbook while watching a movie, she'd flip out. Mess around on my guitar while we're lying around my room chatting. Fury. She hated all women even remotely sexual. Girl in shorts W. Girl in miniskirt. Horrible S. What was weird is she was a hippie liberal girl with progressive parents, but when it came to other women being in touch with sexuality it was somehow terrible. Didn't have a lot of female friends in general, and if my housemates ever brought girls over to our house she would get really insecure. Would have random episodes due to her bipolar, causing her to scream at me, throw crap at me, drive extremely erratically, and just generally treat me like garbage. I was basically linked to her 24/7, either physically or by phone, and if we ever got into any kind of argument I couldn't just walk away and try cool off. That would drive her nuts and she would panic even more and pursue me. I could go on about her and her behavior, but those were at least things that were there from pretty much the start. Other things revealed themselves over time. A girl I befriended in college seemed pretty cool at first, but I quickly learned she had huge attention-seeking problems. I took her to a party where she was all over me, arm in arm, holding my hand everywhere we went. I wasn't allowed to be alone. When I was talking to another pair at the party, a couple at that, she kicked it up a notch, trying to kiss and be cuddly and whatnot. I was fine with it at the time because, hey, she's nice, she's cute, a little intense, but could be misreading it. But I was certainly into her. It was kinda nice being the target of someone else's affection like this. After the party I walked her back to the dorm and she very informatively told me not to try anything because she had a boyfriend. Bonus. Same girl a few weeks later told me that if I had really wanted to sleep with her I shouldn't have told her I was straight because she can't help but turn men. A girl wanted to date me and she told me how she climbed in her ex's second-story window to argue with him. No thanks. When she blatantly says it's not our pay when it happens to men. If they never blink then something's up. If they have a kid and immediately try and make you the kid's dad, get the frick out. I'm looking for a real man who can love me and my 3 kids. Double quote. Online dating was weird. When they know more about your errands than what you told her. Extra creepy point is she becomes angry when you deviate from your initial daily plans. Extra creepy points if she starts angrily texting you when you change your plans as your day is unfolding. When she is a colleague from work and she turns up at the gym coincidentally 5 minutes after you have arrived and she's in a low cut top and starts laughing and touching your arms and bending over and just generally being weird. Especially when she knows that you have a wife and kids and this 45-minute session is the only piece you get 3 times a week. Second date is to a federal prison to visit her son that's doing life for murder. Later saying the phone she snuck in her cooch made her too sore to frick tonight. In my experience, constantly talking about how people don't get them. All of their exes are crazy. I only hang out with guys. When she decided that she would be pregnant, this happened when we were already mid-breakup. I told her I wanted to be there for her to take a pregnancy test. She said she'd go get some and be right over. I told her that I'd go get some. She then was not able to show up for the rest of the day, but would come over tomorrow. Fine by me. Then the next day she took the test, but due to stage fright she said I couldn't actually watch, but could be right outside. I have had stage fright before, so sure, it was my bathroom at my house. No worries. Test came back positive. Well crap. I continually berated her that we needed to go see an actual doctor, get her on prenatals, get ultrasounds, etc. She kept making excuses. I noticed them, which made me push harder to figure out WTF was going on. Excuses consisted of I switching health insurance, my Gino is out of town. She then had a headache one night, and her hippie mom gave her some homemade medicine. I told her she needed to find out exactly what was in the medicine so that we can notify the doctor, and she told me to keep out of it. Finally, had a falling out. I didn't believe she was pregnant, but I had done a couple checks of pregnancy tests that I purchased. She decided that we should just be done and would be taking me to court for child support. I told her that if she had the kid I'd take her to court to get full custody because she is doing a terrible job at showing she wanted to care for the child. About a month goes by. Her friend couldn't get a sound system to work and knew I'd be able to fix it and gave me a call. I fixed it and decided to ask the friend straight out, is she having a baby? Because I need to know if I'm going to have a kid, whether or not I'm the caretaker. I need to know. Her friend started crying and spilled everything. She had gotten another friend, whom was actually pregnant, to pee in a bag, then took that bag with her everywhere in her purse in case I questioned the pregnancy. Friend and pregnant friend found out what happened. Friend and pregnant friend were told I wouldn't let her leave, and she used the pee to fake a pregnancy because she knew I'd bounce if I thought she was pregnant, when in reality it was exactly the opposite. I was already breaking up with her, and she knew I'd actually man up to being dad if she was pregnant. Also, no idea what her endgame was. Fake a miscarriage? IDK about creepy, but I avoid a woman like the plague if she shares posts about being a psycho winaholic chicken nugget addict. It's not endearing to be controlling or an annoying drunk. You have been visited by the swole skeleton. He'll give you good calcium if you subscribe in 5 seconds. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.